What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and another prediction video. The third inning program, as you can see there on the screen, is winding down, which means the fourth inning program comes out later this week. Today we're going to take a shot at kind of guessing / narrowing down who the bosses could potentially be. I'm recording this on Memorial Day, so they have released some clues that'll help us narrow it down enough to where I feel like I could make a video and I'm not just talking out of my butt. Hit the like and subscribe button if you guys enjoy. We're on the grind for like 220 subscribers. That would be really cool to hit by the end of the week. And yeah, we break down every card that comes into the game. We got a new headliner coming out tomorrow. We got a gameplay with a third inning boss coming out later this week as well, so you don't want to miss it. This is the place to be if you like MLB The Show. Let's get into the guessing though. So I'm going to do this video a little bit differently, not crazy differently. I'm just going to tell you kind of the process behind how I got to these guesses. I'm not going to tell you positions beforehand because of the clues they've done. I've kind of been able to narrow it down a little bit as we go. So the first clue they released was a stolen base clue. So two of the players have 30 career stolen bases combined or less, which means they're pretty slow, or at least not known for their speed. The other person has 300 stolen bases. Also, one of the three at least has an MVP award. And today they released a video just earlier, a couple hours ago, showing stadiums, and it appeared to be the Braves Stadium, the Red Sox Stadium, and the Mariners Stadium. So those are kind of the teams we're looking for here potentially. And the first thing I did here when I was kind of narrowing down, as we'll go over to the roster screen so you guys can kind of look at the stats that I'm looking at. The first thing I kind of did is I looked at every team's MVP. I figured that was a good place to start, and then we narrowed down stolen bases from there. So there's only a few players that even fit into that category as an MVP. So Ken Griffey Jr. for the Mariners would fit, but I find it unlikely since we just got him as a World Series reward. And Ichiro for the Mariners, another MVP, but I'm not convinced he's in the game since he's retired. Now, the Braves, Chipper Jones obviously is an MVP, but he was just a boss last time, so he's out. Terry Pendleton I don't think is in the game, and Dale Murphy does not fit the stolen base requirement. Everybody else not in the game for the Braves. That means the MVP is probably coming from the Boston Red Sox. Mookie Betts won an MVP in 2018, but he does not have enough stolen bases, as we'll show you the stats on the card here. Yeah, he's only at 126 stolen bases, so he's well short of the 300 stolen base mark. Now, as we go down the list here, Pedroia's on the list. He doesn't fit the stolen base thing either. Pedroia won an MVP, but he does not get up to the 300 stolen base mark either. That kind of implies that they're going to be below 300 stolen bases, and that to me leaves one guess for the MVP. It's going to be some kind of like 95, 96, 97 overall Ted Williams. He's the only one that fits the stolen base requirement, who has also won an MVP, who is also for sure in the game. Now you can see here, Ted Williams stole 24 bags in his entire career. He won 2 MVPs. Obviously he mashes, and he wasn't slow by any means with just 56 speed. He just didn't steal a lot of bases. So I think it's pretty safe to say Ted Williams is the MVP and one of the bosses coming. Just based on the MVP lists. Jimmy Fox, another Red Sox MVP, again, doesn't fit the stolen base requirement. Ted Williams is really the only MVP on any of the 3 teams that they showed the bosses being on that fits the stolen base requirement. So Ted Williams almost for sure going to be a boss. Now that leaves us with a problem here. That means that either a Mariners or a Braves player is going to have 6 steals or less. Now, that's not very many steals, and it could potentially be a pitcher. It could potentially be Felix Hernandez, and that would be great. For the for the Mariners, obviously. We could get a Greg Maddux card, but I think he's got more than 6 stolen bases in his career because I looked it up. If we get a King Felix card, that would be cool. That's not going to be who I guess, though. I feel like we get another 3-hitter program. And my guess here is going to be Jay Buhner. And here's why I'm going to guess that. I think you could construct a Jay Buhner card here that winds up being about a 95, 96, which is I think where these overalls kind of land. And career stolen bases, this is a big one. 6 career stolen bases. So I think it's going to be the Jay Buhner and Ted Williams combo. That does mean we get 2 outfielders, and I don't think I hate that. I think it would be fine. I really do. Now, we could potentially get a Felix Hernandez card, obviously. But if we get another hitter, I think Jay Buhner makes a lot of sense just because of the low stolen base number. Now, this is where I'm kind of struggling here with the third player. The third player here has got to be a Brave. And he's got to have more than 300 steals. And the problem is, in this game here, at least that I've been able to find, there's just not a lot of Braves with 300 steals, as I can go through and kind of show you. But you kind of think of Braves players that you'd potentially maybe see. Thinking about Dale Murphy potentially. A Braves player that it feels like we always kind of see. But he doesn't fit the stolen base requirement. He's got 161, so that's, what, like 140 short of the 300 mark that they said. So that doesn't fit. You think about Andrew Jones. They released him late last year. Maybe they released him earlier this year, and I think that could be true. The problem is Andrew Jones for his career, 150 stolen bases. So I'm not quite sure who the Braves guy is going to be. There is a second school of thought that this could potentially go, and I'll explain that here, I guess. And there's only one reason why I don't think this would be the thing, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. So by the time I post this video, this could be 100% plan A for me, or the thing that I think they'll go with. Joe Torre here. He knocks out the stolen base requirement, the MVP, and he's got a fair amount of All-Star game appearances, which is good. He's only got 23 stolen bases, obviously. Played for a while there with the Braves. My one reservation about this, when he won his MVP award, he was not on the Braves. So if they wanted to do an MVP card of Torre, it would have to be on the Cardinals, which is where he won his MVP. So the fact that they showed the Braves stadium there makes me think if they gave us a Joe Torre card, it would be a Braves card, but then they couldn't make it an MVP card. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure if that's how they're going to go, but that does make sense. Obviously, that knocks Ted Williams out, which would mean that the stolen base guy would then still have to be below 30, or at this point below 7 for the Mariners, which means Jay Buhner makes sense still, or King Felix makes sense still as well. That would mean that the Red Sox card would then be Jacoby Ellsbury, as we'll show his stats, I guess. Ellsbury has more than 300 career stolen bases, and then now that the Red Sox player wouldn't have to have won an MVP, Ellsbury makes a lot of sense, and I think you could get a 95 overall Jacoby Ellsbury out of it, especially earlier on in his career, pre-Yankees, of course. Probably 2011 would probably be the year they go with. So I don't know. There's food for thought there with the two schools of thought. It could be Ted Williams, Buhner, Felix, and then a Braves player that we're not sure of. It could be Torre, obviously King Felix, Buhner again, or Jacoby Ellsbury, and Jacoby Ellsbury. So those are kind of the two schools of thought that I've been able to come up with. Comment down below. Would love to hear what you guys have to say, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.